participating in the right way. That happens to everyone. That happens to even experienced developers. You need to expect it and cope with it. One good way to start that I would suggest in a new project is to start out as what's called a janitor. Do you know what a janitor is? The janitors are the people who clean the hallways and tidy up under the table. So the janitors on an open source project are the ones that find the little bugs, the little tiny bugs, and they fix just little things here and there. They tidy up a bit of code here. They fix the indentation there, although that can be a hot topic. They might fix the help message to more accurately reflect the program. They might, little things. And they're often greatly appreciated in a project. So starting off as a janitor is often a good thing. And just doing little bits and pieces, little cleanups. So you should also look at how the project submits patches. Each project has a particular way, a particular norm for accepting patches. So Linus only likes patches as plain text, not attachments directly in the email. Other projects only like them as attachments. Other projects only like them going to Bugzilla or to some other mailing list, separate patches mailing list. You need to read on the IRC channel, on the mailing list, on the developer documentation, find out what method this particular project uses and stick closely to that method. Because if you deviate from it, you may well just be ignored. The volume of email that a project leader gets is enormous. I get huge numbers of email from people wanting to help with Samba. I only answer about 1 in every 100 emails that I get. So if you want to get an answer, if the email is badly formatted or hard to read or it uses the wrong methodology, then sometimes I will explain to the person, but I can't spend too much time explaining or I have no time doing development. So I need to rely on the people to know the norms for the project and choose the methods appropriate for the project from the very beginning without being told. And that's quite hard. That is quite harsh. I've hit that myself when I've been a new contributor to a few projects. Okay, so this is the next topic I wanted to look at, and this is a question that I think is interesting. Now, I might be wrong about this. It seems to me that there are less developers from Hong Kong and China than there should be. There's quite a few users of Linux, I believe, but less developers, at least less developers participating in the development channels on the mailing lists of the ones that I see. Now, have I got the wrong impression? Are there all the developers somewhere else, or there just are less? So I wanted to explore why that is and see what can be done. And one reason that I thought, one possible reason could be maybe you're all too polite. Because I have noticed that Chinese people tend to be very polite and kind. When I'm walking around Hong Kong and I'm looking lost, 3 people come up and try to help me find the way. In Australia, they don't do that. It's very rare. People here are kind and polite. But open source development mailing lists and IRC channels are sometimes polite, but more often they are not. And so maybe the difficulty is that you find it difficult coping with the sort of the harshness and rudeness. Is that true, do you think? Has anyone here been discouraged from joining a list because it's too harsh? No? Nobody?
I would say discouraged. I mean, you look at, I'll give you a specific example. Okay? If you look at the GWC list,
yeah.
HKLUG,
yeah.
it's a damn sharp program.
Right.
Okay, but look at the way Trevor treats it.
Right.
It's like, there's no respect for
yes.
HK. Okay, if you think of a person of HJ stature,
yes.
treated like that.
Yes.
Okay? And to me, he represents like, he's ethnically Chinese.
Right.
Okay? To me, it sets a bad example.
Yes. Yes. GWC, I don't think is the norm. It is particularly harsh. It's very, very harsh development.
IBM, there's a lot of programmers from India.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Okay, they're being treated nicely. Okay, their code gets rejected once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm ethnically Indian, I can look up and say, okay, I can relate to him.
Yes.
If I have a problem, maybe I can talk to him.
Right.
And he can, relay for me. There is no corresponding person for the ethnic Chinese.
Right.
It could be
Yes.
one,
Yes. So maybe you need the equivalent of Alan Cox over here, or yes, sort of mediating type person. Yes.
I mean, that's the way I've seen a lot of. There used to be no programmers from India too.
Yeah.
But recently, due to IBM having
an office there, yeah, the LTC there, yes.
So you can see a lot of the I/O scaling work and
right.
Stuff coming out from India. People from India are now looking up to them.
Right.
And, okay, they can explain how you explain within Australia and your
yeah.
they have similar conferences in India.
Yes.
There's no equivalent conference in southern China.
But the sort of a technical conference like that can't really happen until after you have a group of developers.
Andrew, I don't particularly agree with that because I think it's more a cultural thing. The fact that Chinese don't like to share.
Right. Do other people agree with that? Yeah. Would anyone like to share their opinion on that?
Seriously. Within the business culture, okay, I mean, I work with a bunch of small businesses, and let's say they're doing, I don't know, handbags or something like this here. Everybody's got the little thing to do, which is, I'm sorry, not significant. Okay? But to them, they're doing their own ERP system or whatever. They think their idea is is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it's good to keep it to themselves.
Right. So how does that change? Do you want it to change? Do you think it would be good for people to be more open and share code more here, or do you think that things are okay?
I think things are not okay, but you can change it. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to get people to even deal with writing Bugzilla.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Getting some of the staff to basically say, file Bugzilla. If I don't see it in Bugzilla, I can't go and
yes, yes.
trace send logos and so on.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Actually, what I've noticed happening is nothing to do with that. I'm sorry, it's just being point blank. Is what happens is after working their own little thing, this greatest thing since sliced bread, and eventually realize that it's beyond them. Okay. And at that point, you start realizing that, hey, you know what? There's projects out there which is similar to what I'm doing, because what they do is it's beyond them, they outsource it. And once it starts getting outsourced, the people who receive this outsourcing are the ones who actually start to go.
In the commercial environment, I see that, but I'm interested. You see, up to a few years ago, open source developers did it for a hobby. For the first 8 years, I worked on Samba. Nothing to do with my work, nothing to do with my study. Just it was fun. I enjoyed it. So that's the sort of person I'm wondering why we don't see more of from here. The people who do it as a hobby and are involved at the hobby level. I can understand why many companies in Australia and the US don't encourage open source. Only a small percentage do, and that's fine. But I'm interested, I know that there are many talented developers here, and I know that talented developers tend to be interested in programming. They enjoy programming. They get that same warm feeling from good code that I get. It's like a good hot meal when you write good code. Yeah? So, if people have those, people do have those feelings, obviously, here, from the reaction. So, why don't you participate more? Is it lack of time, or is it...
Well, I think it's more culture.
What aspect of the culture?
The way we brought up when we were very young, we actually learn things from teachers and we sit behind lecturers. And
right.
Constantly bombarded with inputs.
Right.
And we rarely express ourselves when we worry about challenging teachers.
Right.
I think this is basically what has been brought up. Type of culture.
Yeah, okay. Right.
It's different culture. You've got to be aware that it's express thing.
Yes.
Very
yes. Yes.
I mean, it's not that we don't enjoy it. I think it's more of a different culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say, people around here will be more cautious if you're trying to share something with them.